Them niggas shrink around you, man. You know what I'm saying? They just in the space probably before you was a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But them niggas shrink when you come around. That's why them niggas don't want you around.
Situation with the genders and all of that shit that we've been hearing about. And there's nobody better than the gore. Philosophical to come set that bitch off.
Yo, you know the game.
What's up? How y'all doing? We in the building once again. We got a dope show coming for y'all today. This is somebody I've been wanting to work with for a while. I've been a fan of this man's work for years. He's definitely did a great job in documenting and giving a chronology to one of the most influential movements that our community has ever seen, for better or for worse. You know, very influential and very powerful, and it has a lot of it definitely, you know, a lot of people have come from these groups. A lot of artists has come from these organizations. A lot of musicians came from these organizations. It wasn't always just, you know, the bad side that people like to represent. And what I appreciate about this brother is he brought a sense of humanity to who these people are, beyond just the violence. And I learned a lot from watching his content, because growing up in Newark, New Jersey, I seen this. And if you're in the chat, please let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if the sound is good. Please put one in the chat if you hear. Shout out to everybody that's pulling up. So watching this brother, being from New Jersey and seeing how the gang culture really came and swept my community. As you can see, I've had other brothers who are involved in the gang culture in the past. I've talked to Melvin Farmer, I've talked to Ayatollah Marv, and I've talked to the brother Little Caesar, who's we're actually building a real life friendship. So shout out to him. He was able to connect me with the brother. So being a part of this, seeing this type of movement happen in my own city, it just made me want to get to know what's the source of it, and how did it become so influential, and what was the motivation behind it. That's just I'm somebody that always wants to know how things come about, and not just follow a trend or a wave. So being able to connect with this brother and pick his brain and see what inspired him, and what keeps him motivated to make this content was always something I wanted to do. Like I told you guys before, like one of the blessings of doing this content is not just necessarily glorifying yourself and promoting yourself and making a lot of money. That's cool. But I really like to talk to people that inspired me, that I've gotten something from their content. So being able to talk to this brother in this capacity is it's an awesome thing. So without further ado, I would like to bring to the stage the illustrious. I wish I had this song, Kev Mac videos. That's my song. I wish I could play it. But without further ado, I'd like to bring in the brother Kev Mac to the stage. What's going on? What's going on, beloved man? How you doing, brother? How you doing? Pleasure for you to have you. It's definitely a pleasure.
All right, what's the deal, man? How's it going?
I'm doing good, man. This is definitely a special occasion. This brother doesn't just talk to everybody at any time about anything. So let's show love. Let's have a good conversation. So yeah, let's get right into it, brother. I want to keep you all evening. What inspired you to start documenting the history of Los Angeles gangs, and how did Kev Mac videos come into existence?
Well, good question. What happened is I did a little short time in prison. When I went to prison, when I caught my case, there was no internet. You couldn't go on the internet, not no YouTube or anything. And so when I got out, like I said, I wasn't going long, but when I got out, they had this thing called the internet, and anybody could log on at home. So I logged in. I had a friend of mine who had gone off to college. I believe he was in Texas at the time, Texas or Ohio. And so me and him communicated over the internet. And there was this, I'm pretty sure your audience is familiar with Street Gang, which is now called Street TV. And you could Google him, and he was like the biggest thing on the internet, because there wasn't shit on the internet yet. And so in going to his website, there was misinformation. There was a lot of what I call European American journalism on that website. And you had guys from all over America and a couple other countries that was logged into that website's forum.
Mhm.
On that forum, there was so much misinformation about LA gangs. And that's what got me started. I didn't want to die or this gang stuff to spread throughout the world and be falsified. So
that's a great point. So could you go into a little bit more on what was the main things that you feel like they was falsifying? And when you said European journalism, what do you mean exactly by that?
white journalists in America basically hijacks our culture and everything behind it, from the jump to whatever falsifications they want to add to their story. They just do it with no shame, no harm, no shame, and they don't care about ruining the truth or our culture as far as the way people look at it or look at us as individuals or organizations. And
Absolutely. I feel like what they do is they take a ugly part or a misunderstood part of our communities and they exploit it. I mean, I feel like they package and exploited LA culture throughout the entire country through film, through music. And they really are talking about something that's really personal to somebody. I know from the outside looking in, at least from my perspective, from the outside looking in, just like, oh, it's fashionable. These people get to wear red. They get to wear blue. I got to do this with my fingers. And it's like when I started watching your stuff, and I watched your stuff after I read Monster Cody's book. So when I read Monster, it was like, whoa. You know what I'm saying? Then I watched you and I seen you talk to him. And like I told you before the show, one of the most interesting dynamics of the gangs is how intimately close a lot of the founders were on both sides and how they were friends growing up and they knew each other's family. So it's like it was more of a misunderstanding that turned into a fad that just went all over the country. And it's like, I like to hear it from the horse's mouth. So with that being said, what were some research challenges in getting this information that you face interviewing individuals trying to put certain stories and histories together?
another great question right there. So the biggest challenge is being a Crip, a Rolling 60, and a lot of people don't want to deal with us or didn't deal with us. So that was hard. That made it hard to get interviews, man. People not just outside of LA, but inside of LA don't understand how hard it is to get a rival to sit down and give you their story or their set story. Because number one, they don't trust you. Number two, it's a good chance they don't like you. Number three, it's a high probability of me or my set being misunderstood and misrepresented. And the politics of it all, because you get backlash for doing interviews with so-called enemies, or we would call rivals. And it wasn't very popular to do gang interviews when I started doing this. I'm sure, I don't want to keep saying his name, but I'm sure Alonzo, Street TV, had faces some other challenges. I wouldn't say for the same reasons, but it just wasn't cool to give out gang information.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned
even Monster Cody would say that about his book. There was a lot of backlash from that because it's like a secret society. You know what I'm saying? All we ask is trust. It's like if you're really not a part of it, really want to share it. But he definitely indulged in a lot of things, and he felt that same pressure. Like people felt like he should have said this and he shouldn't have said that. So that's totally understandable. This is another question off beat. How do you feel about did you ever feel the need or want to, or maybe you didn't feel like it? Do you think it was relevant to interview gang members? I would say like big time gang members that may be from New York or New Jersey. Did you feel the need to hear their story, or were you more concerned about getting out the origin of LA's story?
Well, both, but most definitely more so getting LA's story out there.
Mm-hmm.
But
Absolutely.
There's always thought of how did this set get out there? Are they legit? Again, this goes back to the information. And so I'm gonna give you an example. A a fictitious example. So if a guy moves to New Jersey and he said, well, let's say the 60s start up in New Jersey, and I asked the 60 in New Jersey, how did y'all get out there? And he says, OG Big such and such bought it out here. He's a reputable from the set in the land. And I'd be like, wait a minute, hold up. Like, I ain't never heard of that dude,
Absolutely.
And it can be a possibility that this guy is not even from LA, or maybe he was a snitch or a buster in LA, but then Jersey and told a lie and gave a whole different spin on who he was and his reputation. So,
absolutely. Ironically, the 60s are very big, the part of New Jersey that I'm from. So it's funny that you said that. And they've definitely had they definitely have strong connections to California, not to advocate it or say it's a great thing or bad thing, but they definitely, that particular gang is definitely big where I'm from. Grape Street is big where I'm from. Brims, a lot of East Coast blood sets, but Jersey specifically has a lot of direct California ties. They got Inglewood family has a strong connection with East Orange, Double I. So yeah, Jersey has definitely been tied to LA going back to the days of Tupac. So it's always been a New Jersey, California thing going on. So what is your interview selection process? What criteria do you use to select individuals for your interviews, and how do you approach them to share their stories?
Well, I have a criteria, but the criteria is not written in stone. I could been the rules for the criteria, but normally I like to. What number one? Let's just start at the top. I like to interview people who I heard names was ringing before I met them. Before it was cool to talk to a rival. So I like to establish, stomp down, reputable Crip or Blood from their area. That's number one. Number two, I would like, and I usually go by this, is I don't want you to be no snitch. I don't want to interview no snitch. Nobody who's not in great standing in their community. Now the twist to that is there are some rats that are held in high regard in their community for one reason or another. Either people don't know they snitch or don't believe they snitch or don't care that they snitch. But I try my best to avoid those type of people, because in what I'm doing, as it sounds like already, people are going to judge me.
Yes.
Who I interview and how I interview them. And people are going to always judge me, particularly civilians or white civilians are going to judge me as I'm glorifying the gang lifestyle.
Which is ironic, because what you're doing is giving these people a chance to let their humanity be shown and their vulnerability be shown, hey, maybe I shouldn't have joined this gang, but this is why. I went through this with my father. I went through this with my mother. And it's funny that people look at you as exploiting it, because I think if anyone's exploiting, it's been Hollywood and the powers that be, because they're the ones who's making the films. They're the ones who's making the money, making the music, putting it in gangs. Because it's like, I feel like they intentionally exploited Bloods and Crips, because there's many gangs in America. You got Four Corner Hustlers, you got GDs, you got Folks, you got Latin Kings, but they love to focus strictly on Bloods and Crips, and I feel like that was by design. And I think that that's not the fault of the LA gangs, but to look at you as somebody that was exploiting it, I think I would beg to differ. You know what I'm saying? I think what you're doing is proactive, and you're letting people tell them story themselves and not being told for them. And it's not like they be saying, hey, you should be just like me. It's mixed results, you know what I'm saying? But they all seem to have a jewel or something they would have went through differently. And a lot of it was just defending their neighborhood. It wasn't really about trying to be the toughest guy, just saying, hey, I don't want to join your gang, so we're going to start this gang. You know what I'm saying? It's really about just survival. And I think you brought a humanity to the plight of the gangs, not necessarily glorifying it, but just showing you that, hey, these are people too. And a lot of them didn't have a choice. It's like in LA, one thing about LA I could say compared to like where I'm from, and it's become that over time, but it's like, shout out to 18th Letter. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Please support the channel. As you can see, we bringing quality conversation with quality people. We just ain't up here just running our mouth talking about anything. So Support the channel, please. Shout out to 18th Letter. But one thing about over here, it's like, okay, in New Jersey, which kind of makes it a little dangerous because in LA, I know when I'm in 54, 55th, Hyde Park, 10th Ave, Brownsburg, I'm in the 60s. You know what I'm saying? I know where I'm on Denver Lane. I can literally look at the street sign and know exactly where I'm at. In New Jersey, you don't know where the fuck you at. You know what I'm saying? They not wearing the color. It's not pronounced. So if you don't know nobody, you'll be on a big ass set and won't know nothing. So it's a little more tricky. You know what I'm saying? They not going by colors. They wearing any kind of hat they want. They just banging it. It's in their heart. They really do you dirty though. So it's like, it's kind of harder to navigate. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like within Cali, it's not a matter of, it's not just, I joined this group and I joined this group today. You know, if you live here, bro, that's where you from. Now, whether you want to, I like to put it like this. You can join the defense aspect of the neighborhood, but you from this neighborhood, whether you like it or not, from what I see from how it looks like from the outside looking in. So in other words, if I'm not a part of 60s, I got put on a set, but my mother lived there and I grew up over there, then I might get into it just because I'm from there. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's where you from. It's not necessarily you joining something. Like, y'all actually repping blocks that your aunts grew up on. So in Jersey, the East Coast, I feel like when they left Cali, it got a little weird to me because it's like, no matter, this is me talking as a man, no matter how many gangs may come from Cali to show me love, I'm not from there, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I could never go so hard for something I'm not from. Like, I'm not from there. So that was the part that amazed me about how people join and be able to really put their life on the line for a conflict that started between people that was probably friends. Like when I learned about the A-Tray and 60 conflict, it's like, that was deep. You know what I'm saying? Because they was really cool, and to turn into what it turned to. And then for me to join that conflict 400, 300 miles away was mind blowing to me. But it showed me the power and how captivating the gang culture was to young Black youth all over America. But I think in California, it's more about you're from here more so than, what do I want to be today? You know what I'm saying? In Jersey, you could just join this. And it's just different. Not saying it ain't official because you can't just do what you want to do. But we have areas tied to, like the 60s will always be the 60s. You know what I'm saying? Like it might be Bloods in New Jersey that's on 10th Street. You know what I'm saying? On Avon. It's not tied to the street like that. So the way you navigate it is very, very, very different. Shout out to Lucky Marie. She's from LA as well. Shout out to Lucky. Shout out to Lucky. So yeah, brother, let's keep it going. What's my next question? What are some of the ethical challenges that you face, and how do you navigate the ethical challenges of documenting and sharing sensitive and potentially incriminating information?
That's a good question. Now here goes my thing. When I interview somebody, say I'm interviewing you,
mm-hmm.
You're telling me about this dude you killed or this dude you shot in the head or you kidnapped, I'm gonna stop you right there in the interview. You sure you want to say that? Yeah, I want to tell my story. And you get one more chance before I go to editing. You get to call me, or I'm gonna call you and say, you sure you want to leave this in there? If they say, yeah, I'm leaving it. Because it's their approval and it's their story and they want it out there. I'm gonna leave it in there. But if they say it's up to you, then I'm immediately take it out. I'm not putting that up there because the reason why I'm like that, I want to be held accountable for your story. I don't want to become a witness to your crimes in which you confess on my platform. So I don't want to be in the court, period, for
Absolutely.
Anybody. That's not a place where I want to be. And just back to what you were saying about, I try to humanize people from the culture. I try to humanize gang members, whether you was a leader or whether you was a punk, because we were all human before we was Crips or Bloods.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely, man.
Take it absolutely. Back. Now, some of us have moral, better than others, and a lot of it starts in the home. You know what I mean? And so I like to visit that with people. You know, maybe we can find out where you went wrong. You know, and 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna say 8 out of 10 times wasn't right. And
Absolutely.
probably
Absolutely. Great answer.
20 or 30% of the time, person was raised by their grandmother. So either their mother was on drugs or their mother was too young to parent them back in the days.
Absolutely. Shout out to Little C's in the building. Appreciate you for setting this up, brother. He's in the building. He's in the building.
Yeah.
So let's keep it moving. Let's another question I have for you. How do you think the portrayal of gangs in mainstream media compares to the reality that you've experienced and documented?
All right, first let me give a shout out to Little Caesar. Little Caesar contacted me and said you would like to interview me. And like I said in opening, I turned down a lot of interviews because to me it's just irrelevant. And I feel like anybody want to know about me or my story can come on over to my channel. But because Little Caesar was a reference, and when I got at you were so respectful, I'm like, why not get his brother? Try to help your platform and your viewers know that you can reach out to some dudes in LA. But I feel like Hollywood purposely misportrays us, and I understand why, but I feel like they exploit us too often. The reason why is money. They don't give a damn about no truth. They give a damn about how many tickets they can sell to a movie or how much advertisement they can get when they're on TV. That's all they care about. Again, I try to get these people, I get the names and faces that you guys heard about to come on, and then they can tell you about them. Can't no white man ain't never met these dudes tell you about them. You know, it's all going to be second, third hand, and fictitious stories that these dudes use to portray us. But I feel like Hollywood is just capitalizing off of an industry in which mainly rich people are a part of, and furthering their careers as far as acting and accolades and awards and shit like that.
Absolutely. The funny thing is, because I'm cool with the brother Big Jai. I don't know if you're familiar with Big Jai. He does a lot of skits out there in LA. Yeah. Big Jai, he's a good friend of mine now. He's the first person I ever interviewed on my channel. But when I go to LA, I kick it with him. And he has a show called Blackbusters when they review a lot of like LA films, just films, period. But they had a certain episode they was talking about Boys in the Hood, and it's comparing it to like Boys in the Hood to what's the other one, Menace Society. And they were saying how Menace Society was like an East Side movie and Boys in the Hood was like a West Side movie. In your opinion, what film did you resonate with more growing up? Like which one you feel like was a more reflection of your experience in LA?
I mean, if you look at it like that, I mean, they both was, but I was more of a fan of Boys in the Hood. And that probably would resonate more because hanging out on the porch, bagging on each other and stuff like that. But and then of course the Crenshaw Wall, all that resonates because that was really me. And that was really boys at the Crenshaw Wall, the S-hats, and so that resonates more. I would have never looked at Minister Society as an East Side story, but as far as putting in work, it don't matter what part of town you're from. You know what I mean? In 1992, and I'm just going off 92 because I just was reading the statistics, it was 1,980 murders in the county of Los Angeles at the time. So in the county of Los Angeles, you got the San Gabriel Valley, you got Compton, Inglewood, Gardena. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Altadena. So it didn't matter what part of the county you went in, your life was still in danger. People were still shooting and putting in work. So I don't look at it as no East Side, West Side type of thing. But
they felt like based on the cinematography, I guess the atmosphere and the way it went down. Because even when growing up, I didn't realize it was a Blood and Crip movie, you know, because, you know, when you're a child, you need big ass signs to say this is this and that is that. So unless you really understand LA culture, you wouldn't know what's what. But if you really now that I look back, they was all Blood and Crip movies. You know what I'm saying? Harold's from Long Beach. We already know what that's about. They was trapping in Jordan Downs, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, of course it was more obvious in Boys in the Hood, because they was obviously wearing red, obviously wearing blue, but it was a little more subtle. But even the location seemed like it was more east side. Cause I think Watts is more east side type of territory. So I think from that perspective, that's probably what they meant. But that's a good point though. Like I appreciate that. Another thing, do you think any gang members' story should be is film worthy from all the cats you interview? And if so, which one?
Absolutely. But before I answer that question, let's go back.
Okay.
Again, I'm only quoting 1992 because I was just looking at this statistic this morning. But in 1992, just in the city of LA was like 1,904 homicides.
1904.
Remember, I told you it was 1980 in the whole county. So a lot of that is east side, west side, bro. There was 58 homicides in Compton. And Compton is known as this vicious city. This is known the origin of the Pyrus. And the Compton Crips wasn't no joke. So, and then you got the Mexican Beast in 92. The Mexican Beast started around that time, 91, 92, 93. So when I say Mexican Beast, I mean black on brown.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Wars. So you look at that 58, and you gotta look at it like, wait, hold up. That mean the east side and the west side was putting it down. So you understand why I'm saying there's no difference to me.
Yeah, exactly. Because shout out to y'all, but they wasn't like, they had friends there. So you was actually involved in the gang. So you would definitely have that perspective. You know, once you in it, it's like, hey, soldiers is soldiers. It don't really matter where you from. We all gotta lock up. So now I get it. And it's funny because I feel like something about the county jail when it comes to gang areas is no joke. Like the county jail in Newark, New Jersey, called the Green Monster. It's no joke. And it's like when I hear about it, sound comparable, like Cook County, LA County, S County, prison is just, they sound, I'm not prison, but jail, just the stories I hear is very synonymous. Like you gotta fight, you know what I'm saying? You can't hide where you from. It's like, it's the same thing. Do you think,
go back to your last question.
About the cultural significance.
Was that the question? I don't.
What the question I asked you? I think I asked you. How do you think gangs the mainstream media compared to? But I think you answered that. But if it's another question that might have slipped my mind, if it comes back to, let me know.
I remember the last part about a story that I would think is worth.
Yeah. There you go.
Man, this. I hope this ain't cliche or beaten or not answering your question, but I feel like all of them are worthy of a movie.
Okay. I respect that. Me personally, I would love to see a movie on Monster Cody. That's number one. You know what I'm saying? A movie I think the rolling 60s and A-Trays conflict alone deserves a film or at least a documentary. Because from what I watched from your stuff, it kind of changed the whole landscape of all the gang networks across California. Because now it's either you're affiliated with, either support the gangsters or you support the neighborhoods, and it kind of made everybody have to pick a side. It even affected the red side. It was real significant, how that went down in the story and how y'all was so close. It was really unfortunate because I feel like my thing with the gangs is I don't think organizing young men to be strong and to be tough is a problem. My issue with the gangs is the rites of passage. It's like if there was more of if the OG could say, hey, what happened with little Slip Rock over there? I heard him and his girl, his baby mother, they got into it. But so how about we gonna come over there and we gonna have they gonna set up a fade, and then after that we all play football. Or it's like if they get this change, and I'm it's wishful thinking, But it's like the numbers are there, the influence is there. So to try to say, let's stop it, I think that's not realistic. I think the better perspective would be, how can we change it and change the dynamics where no one has to die? You know what I'm saying? Because it's like young men need, especially in the hood, we don't have a lot of resources. We don't have a lot of boys and girls club. You know, some areas do have, all they have is the local homies. So it's like, if that's all they got, what can we do to make this a little more conscientious and not just gratuitous violence because he said I wasn't really from the hood, so now I'm about to blow his head off. It's like, whoa. You know what I mean? There's a lot of different ways we can alleviate. That's why I like, and I feel like y'all tried, but it's too many people to control. You got a lot of egos. You got a lot of, you can't control these guys. But it's like, I would see the attempts at the football games, at the baseball games. You know, these small attempts to just bring some type of camaraderie and release that competitive fervor without having to die. So I feel like there's been attempts, but I feel like the gangs are fighting against so many different people. Like even when it comes to the Rolling 68 Trey story, how they didn't know the guy who shot Big Rick, little brother. You know what I'm saying? They didn't know. Who knows if that was a police informant? You know what I'm saying? We don't know, because when you look at these big time organizations, even back to the Panthers, there's always somebody sent in these groups to cause this big ass dissension. So we don't know if that person was sent from the government to cause it. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I feel like the gangs have always attempted to do something, and it's always been this person or this scenario, this outside situation that just brought a lot of confusion, that when you got to the bottom of it, nobody even know who this dude is. You know what I'm saying? That's the story of black organizations, period.
Well, here's the thing, because a lot of people, not a lot, but a few people left comments saying the same thing, and that's just not true. They knew who he was. That's why when they tell the story, they know the whole damn story. How they know the whole story, but they don't know the dude that was fighting and did the shit?
I thought that too. That definitely crossed my mind, but I try to be optimistic. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, you know, it was just the person that was, not to make it about that, but the person that was shit was too significant to not know. You know what I'm saying? Like Big Rick was a big time person. So brother Tyrone to randomly get hit, it's like I can see why it caused this war that's been going on for so long. Speaking of which, how did you feel like the loss of Nipsey really affected the community, and has it rebounded since then? Especially affecting the 60s, because I feel like he was such a shining light to you guys.
I don't feel like the hood or the city has rebounded from Nipsey's death. Nipsey, though he was younger, he was a major influence in business and work ethic in LA. You know, you got Bloods and you got gangsters that respected his grind, you know what I mean, and paid respects for his death. So he was a big figure when you think about the aura and what he stood for. You know what I mean? I'm the same guy I told you people wouldn't give me an interview because of where I was from and where I grew up in. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Nipsey was able to fill up a basketball arena when he passed, you know what I mean? So
Michael Jackson, it kind of had the Michael Jackson vibe. Bro, let me tell you something. Me and my friends were listening to Nipsey since 2009. I wasn't one of them new fans. We've been since Hussle in the house. I was listening to Nipsey's Bullets Ain't Got No Name on it. RSC Till I Die, all of that, Crenshaw, all of that. We've been on that. So when I was actually on a date, I was celebrating my birthday. This is how much Nipsey meant to me, bro. I was on a date. Someone took me out, and my man texted me. Shout out to my man Jasper. He texted me like, "Yo, Nipsey got shot." I'm like, "Get the fuck out of here, bro." He's like, "Nah, bro." And they said, you know, I read the story, I looked it up, and they said somebody was killed on the scene, but they haven't confirmed it. Bro, my father's grave, man. I was so hurt by his death. I went home. I told you, I said, yo, I gotta leave. Because in that moment, because me and her would go back, we used to be hot and cold, sometimes cool, sometimes we not. In that moment, when I found out Nipsey died, it made me second guess anybody who I wasn't 100% sure about, and I just wanted to be by myself. Because I feel like that when he died, I'm like, he shouldn't be dead. Not this man. Like, I just couldn't believe it, bro. I couldn't listen to rap for like 4 months. I feel like people say hip hop died a lot of times when this music came, but I feel like when Nipsey died, the streets died to me. I didn't care about none of that shit no more. Cause I'm like, if we can't protect somebody like him, if somebody he come from the town, he bring all this wealth, he bring all this intelligence, he bring STEM programs, he bring a whole different mindset literally to the set, and he dies there. I'm like, yo, I just was done with rap. I was done with anybody talking that they from the. I ain't want to hear none of that shit, bro. Cause I'm like, this man, if we really stand for the G code and really stand for what we claim we stand for, this man shouldn't be dead, especially not like that. I was really distraught for a long time over it. I'm still bothered about it. I got a big Nipsey painting right here on my wall. A lot of people have seen it. But Nipsey is my guy, man. That bothers me to this day. Like that hurt me like a brother hurt me. Like I really a big fan of him as a man, not just an artist. But I was a fan of his music since my daughter was born. So I wasn't one of them new fans that came later. I thought Victory Lap was a classic. I was just so devastated when Nipsey passed, bro. Like I was so hurt by that.
Yeah, I was with him a couple nights when he was working on Victory Lap. So I'm gonna always have those memories.
Yeah, that was a blessing, man. That was a blessing. And another thing, what people don't realize, maybe you can relate or not, I felt like based on the community that Nipsey comes from, it could hurt us in race relations. Because I used to live in DC, so I'm familiar with the Eritrean and Ethiopian community, and a lot of them don't really mess with black people like that. You know what I'm saying? So for him to come to America, get caught up in American gang, and is killed while he's trying to bring value to this neighborhood, that can further impact just how they view us as a people, period. On top of they, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I think like that. And it's like, I don't think we understand the ramifications of what we do and how it impacts how people view us. Because Nipsey they don't play that. They don't really mess. I'm pretty sure he went through hell when his family learned that he was a part of the 60s, because they was probably like, and he was probably trying to convince them his whole life, like, nah, it ain't that bad. And for him to die, it's just like, it was really devastating, bro. But I didn't mean to get all into that. But Nipsey I was a big fan of Nipsey, man. That's my guy. Nipsey was one of the greatest rappers of all time in that short, brief time. Oh, Daryl had the question. He said, ask Kev what the temperature is like in LA and how has things cooled off. Like, yeah, how was it going out there with the fires? And how were you good when it comes to that? Anybody know was affected by that?
Me personally, I don't know anyone that actually knew that was affected by it, but I know, I had the honor to interview some Altadena Block Crips, so their community is burned down. You still there? Am I here by myself?
I'm here, brother. I'm here. My screen is full, so you keep talking. My screen froze. I'm just refreshing my screen.
All right, so I know some dudes I interviewed whose set was burned down in Altadena, and anybody else, like the descendant of I didn't know him. Actors, I didn't know them. No. And then I'm not in LA. Caesar knows that, but you probably wouldn't know. I'm not in LA. So I don't have no firsthand knowledge of what's going on and with fires or anything else.
Okay. Yeah, I was just in California. I just missed it. I was there in November and December. And man, it's expensive as hell out there, bro. You're like, I don't know. Oh my God, man. Like,
you think I'm not there no more?
Shoot. But I also understand why people live there, because California is beautiful. I drove from LA to Santa Barbara, and that drive was like, the only thing I compare it to is like Cape Town in Africa. Like, it really, like that coastline that y'all got, California is beautiful, man. Like, that's a beautiful state. Like, it hit me like, oh, this is why everybody want to live out here. You know what I mean? It's just the weather, the vibe, just a whole East Coast is too like, you know what I'm saying? Oh, out there. That's why I never understood why y'all was begging. It's like, yo, it's so nice out here. Y'all got the palm trees, y'all got the water, y'all got the pretty girls. Like, you know what I mean? It's like y'all got it made out here. You know what I'm saying? But don't sleep. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't be playing. Like, that's not no place you want to get caught slipping, especially when I found out about the hats. Like, the hats I wear, they be on my ass, because I be having everything on, like the LA hats, the New York Yankee hats. It'd be a lot. You know what I'm saying? But let's get back to it. What collaborations have you ever collaborated with other content creators or organizations, and how have those partnerships influenced your work?
I can't think of any collaborations other than Melly Mel, the Hood Postman. He was part of my show before he branched off. So we done some interviews together. Got me a couple interviews up out of Compton.
And to be clear, you're talking about Millie Mel from Santana Block?
Yeah.
Okay, because sometimes, may might think we talking about the rapper.
Okay, no. So Alex Alonso has kicked the idea around on maybe 2 occasions about doing something together. And I told him, man, I gave my word. I'll do it. If you want to do it, I'll do it. But we didn't have a topic. But other than that, man, let me tell you how cutthroat this shit is. Like, you know about music, or you know the cutthroat?
Of course, I got my name from rapping.
Okay, so look, this YouTube shit is probably more brutal as far as being cutthroat than the record industry.
A lot of politics.
Yeah, a lot of politics. But listen, because in your intro, you mentioned something about a lot of people. I don't know your exact words, but let me just say it in my words. A lot of people on YouTube in California came through me. They came on my platform. They came through me before they got their own platform.
Mm-hmm.
And so all these dudes got their own platform now. Dude, I don't even know you, bro. We ain't never worked together. We ain't never sat down and had a meal together. I ain't never got a ride from you from point A to point B. You interviewed me before any of these dudes interviewed me. These dudes been on YouTube 3+ years and they never interviewed me, man.
Hey, man, sometimes a stranger got more love for you than your own people, man.
And people are so worried about the competition that they worry you take some of their viewers, when the truth is most of them got their viewership from me. Their donations is coming from people who I had to convince to donate. And these dudes don't give a goddamn thing back. They can't even shout me out. Look, dudes pass, dudes die, and they don't never say Kev Mac introduced him to me or Kev Mac introduced him to the world. They'll make it seem like they was friends, like they knew him from day one. And like they be purposely misleading the audience so they can be bigger than what they really are. You know?
And it's unfortunate, brother, but that's why I'm here, brother. Like, my channel, of course I want people to know who I am, but I'm a big flower giver. You know what I'm saying? I like to give a platform to people that inspired me. I think one of the blessings for me going viral, meeting people, one of the blessings for me going viral is meeting people and being able to share a screen and pick the brains of the minds that I was influenced by. And you was at the top of that list. Like I said, I've been watching you. So, brother, regardless of what these other cats did, we giving you your flowers here. We letting the world know that Kev Mac exists. Please support his channel. He has a lot of great content. I would advise you to watch it with your children, your sons, your daughters, people that may be influenced in the streets or think they want to get down with that. They need to watch Kev Mac videos. They need to hear the truth from the horse's mouth. And let's give our brothers their flowers now and not just use them for their resources, but get to know who Kev Mac is. And that's what I wanted this interview to be about. Not necessarily the 60s, not necessarily the gangs, but who Kev Mac is, what inspires you, what you have coming up, because I feel like you're a legend. You know what I'm saying? We don't need to wait for you to be on CNN or to be invited to the Breakfast Club. Nah, you're a legend right now. Kev Mac is definitely a legend. You know what I'm saying? His content is legendary, and it's going to stand the test of time. You know what I'm saying? Especially with the changing of LA, with the changing of the LA culture. Your documents and your content is going to age like fine wine, brother. Like it's going to be the last bastion of the truth of LA culture, unapologetically and not necessarily salacious. So I think for that, brother, we salute you. And I appreciate you coming to my platform because this is a great moment for me. I don't care who like it, who don't. I was able to do a interview, one of the legends of our time in this content world. And that's you, brother Kev Mac. We showing you love over here, brother. You was official from the east to the west. You know what I'm saying? Kev Mac is definitely one of the best. You feel me? So we gonna cut all that right now. So shout out to Kev Mac. Please subscribe to the channel. Kev Mac Videos is official. If you don't know, get to know. So let's keep it going. How has your personal life, how has your perspective on life and community changed since you started Kev Mac Videos?
I wouldn't say it changed at all. Maybe I see more ignorance now than I ever seen before, but I don't think it changed.
Is there any have you been inspired to do other things based on the conversation you've had with gang members? Have you been given new inspiration to do new things, the new perspectives and content you may have changed based on this based on this ignorance that you're seeing? Has it shaped what you want to do moving forward or new endeavors?
No, it actually influences me more to remain humble and remain as lonesome as possible, man. Kind of like you said, when Nipsey got killed, you feel like, God damn, basically anybody can get it. So I feel like, sort of in many ways, the same. I feel like, shit, the more that I see these other channels and the more that I see the ignorance, I'm like, man, I'm better out the way than I am in the way.
Exactly. That's how I feel. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people, because I went viral talking to a young lady. So we all know the relationship conversation is really popular right now. So since I went viral talking to a woman, I got invited by a lot of panels to talk about, you know, relationships and dating, which is cool. But it's more in my mind than that. You know what I'm saying? But I realize when I talk about, oh, what this girl said, you know, something like that, people love that. But when I have real conversation, they don't support that, but I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm thinking about legacy. I'm thinking about what's going to age with time. Like, when I go back 10 years and look at the content I produce, will I be proud of it? Is it something that I can keep showing later and later? Or is it be a flash in the pan moment thing? So it's like people want to talk about bullshit, man. And they want to complain all the time. But then when you provide content that's not about bullshit, they don't support you. They want to hear he said, she said, fucking black gossip bullshit. That's what they want to talk about. And that's cool. I ain't knocking it. But it's like, I want to make stuff that I can be proud of, my family can be proud of, that can build a legacy long after I'm gone. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I appreciate you for helping add into that endeavor. A few more questions. I ain't gonna hold you too long, brother. What, based on your research, how has gang culture evolved over the last decades?
Uh,
I guess from your time to current, like what has evolved, and you think?
First thing that comes to mind is the dress style and the color.
Elaborate.
Well, these dudes is, you know, this whole skinny jean era, all shirts, the physique. You know, these dudes are proud to be small now, weigh 90 pounds, 95 pounds. Dudes wanted to get yoked up when I was young because dudes knew they was going to have to fight. You go to jail, you might be in a cell with 2 or 3 different enemies. And it was just, come up there, dudes lifting weights, bodybuilding, and being healthy as far as your body go, being strong physically.
Mm-hmm.
And now I don't see that. And even like drug use has been rampant since the late 70s, from what I witnessed. And but it was different.
Mm-hmm.
This dude might get high, this dude might get high, this dude might get high off PCP. And he might get clowned because he got naked or he climbed a telephone pole.
Yeah.
But then crack came and you see these mothers giving head for $10 and you see people beating up on people's mamas and daddies because they're getting high.
Facts.
And so it evolved in that way. And then when we get to today, man, dudes are doing all kind of drugs, from syrup to all kinds of pills, powder, cocaine. They just doing it all. They making up drugs now, methamphetamine, all that stuff. So now I feel like drugs are a bigger part of today's era of society than it was back then. But like we used to sag back in my day, right? We sag.
Of course.
I used to be with some boxers on or whatever. But now we do sagging with briefs on, and the briefs.
Yeah, it's crazy now. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I feel like in the day we would influence high fashion. Now high fashion is influencing the streets. You know, we will bring the high fashion to the streets. Next thing you know, you will see, like in the 90s, you will see Calvin Klein advertisement look like a LA cat or New York cat. Like they were trying to fit in with us. And it's like now the generation is trying to fit in with them. Speaking of that, I'm sure you're a hip hop fan. How do you feel about hip hop, man? Like what's going on? How do you feel about the state of hip hop? And give me your top 5 hip hop artists.
Surprisingly, I'm not really a big guy on music or hip hop.
Really?
I am old school hip hop. So anything old school, I'm gonna choose first. Probably the game I will probably give an exception to. But my top 5 will be Ice Cube.
Okay.
Did you say West Coast or period?
It don't matter, bro. Whatever. It don't matter.
Well, see, LL Cool J cracks my top 5, man. I was always
top 10. Keep talking, man. My StreamYard is back working. Because StreamYard been. I got a brand new computer, bro. I got a wire connection. I got all the bells and whistles, and StreamYard still be tripping, but it's back. So you say LL, Ice Cube,
Tupac, of course. I like Nas, man. Nas be spitting.
Oh, he's my favorite.
Yeah, Nas is nice, and I mean it's so many.
My shit's freezing. Just to keep going. I'm just gonna refresh. I'll be back. Please keep talking.
Yeah, them the ones that come to mind. But I was a Run DMC fan, Furious 5 fan, Treacherous 3 fan, Boogie Down Production fan. So like I said, anything old school hip hop, I'm a fan of that. After that, I don't know who's who or what the hell they talking about.
I don't think they make hip hop no more, and that's my biggest issue. I'm tired of people who not making hip hop, but they get to receive the spoils of what hip hop created. In other words, hip hop was built on lyricism, street consciousness, storytelling, and when I hear these new artists who making drill or trap, and they get awards for best hip hop artists and all that, but when you ask them about hip hop, they don't give a fuck about it. And I feel like that's not fair. If you don't give a fuck about it, don't get an award from it. Make your own category and build your own brand. Don't try to build off of hip hop in the house that LL, Nas, Tupac, Biggie, Rakim, all these great dudes, they built a sound. Don't come and try to say, oh, we don't care about that shit, but you want to receive the spoils from what they built. I don't appreciate that. Make a trap awards, make a drill music awards, and do that. Leave hip hop alone because it's not the same. We all might be from the same neighborhood, but we from different backgrounds. Like all these sounds come from the inner city, but hip hop is not drill music and it's not trap music. It's just not, and it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Just build your own shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Hip hop is a specific genre that I feel like it has to speak truth to power to some degree, or it's not hip hop to me. All those artists you mentioned spoke truth to power to a degree, especially Cube. You know what I'm saying? The first Kendrick. You know what I'm saying? So, like, his first album was one of my favorites. Him and Nas, two of the only artists that ever got 5 mics in the Source, when the Source was the Source. So that says a lot. Like, America's Most Wanted, if you haven't heard that album, please do yourself a favor and go listen to one of the greatest hip-hop albums period of all time. It's like a movie. The way it flows, it just never stops. Like one long song. Like one of my favorite albums. I love. And I was listening to that as a teenager. I was always somebody that went back before the era I was from to listen to music. I don't know what's going on with this stream. StreamYard is definitely trash. We about to start boycotting StreamYard and go to OBS or something because this is getting crazy.
You all right? Everything's cool on my end. I see you and I hear you.
Okay, well, on my side, it's jank. It's making it look like I'm freezing. I'm going in and out. So if y'all think I'm smooth, I'm smooth.
Yeah,
but
it's fluttering a little bit, but I hear you clearly. So I'll be remiss to mention Ice-T and Nipsey Hussle because of those are 2 friends of mine. So Ice, being 10 years older than me, Ice was always like a mentor. I always followed behind Ice, and I like what Ice-T was doing. and he's one of the pioneers of West Coast hip hop.
Of course, 6 in the morning, man.
And Nip, when you speak about consciousness, that's Nipsey Hussle. And the fact that he was rapping about people in the hood that I grew up in made it that much more closer to my heart. So, yeah, I gotta always give my props to Ice-T, man. But Ice Cube, I think, is the greatest. And DJ Quick don't get enough props, man. DJ Quick,
don't.
He first came out. And then I love Too Short.
Oh yeah, one of my favorite songs is Freaky Tales. It's long as hell, but it bump in that system though. Yeah. It be bumping in that system, bro. Like I'm a big hip hop connoisseur of the West Coast. Like, you'll catch me bumping Murder Was the Case soundtrack, bro. Like on a random day. Like I'll be bumping Who Got Some Gangster shit. Like that shit came out yesterday. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a big fan of LA hip hop, you know what I'm saying? That sound, like I like every area's authentic sound. Like I like the authentic Houston sound. I like the authentic Atlanta sound. I like the authentic LA sound. Like I like the authentic sounds of areas, not the watered down bullshit. But when it comes to LA, I think my favorite rapper from LA, pound for pound, probably Snoop. You know what I mean? Tupac to me is like a hybrid LA/New York, but Tupac I think is better than Snoop. But I think when I think of LA, the first person came to my mind is Snoop Dogg. Like Snoop was a superstar. I don't think people realize how big Snoop was back in the day. Like Snoop was humongous. You know what I'm saying? Like Snoop was like the first rap superstar that I can remember. So that's my guy. Go ahead.
Say this real quick. This might catch you by surprise, but I like that dude Tretch from Naughty by Nature.
Jersey. Let's go. Hey, that's my hometown. So, you know, we definitely appreciate that. And like I said, New York, LA was influenced heavy by the funk sound. And George Clinton come from Jersey too. So just want to let you know that. And Ice Cube was born in Jersey too. Just want to let you know that. He was born in Trenton. No, he was born in Newark. He was actually born in Newark, and then he went to the West Coast. So yeah, it's California love over here. I got mad love for LA, bro. A couple more questions, Kev Mac, and I'm gonna let you go, brother. I know I'm interfering with your rest hours, so I appreciate your time. What's your any future projects that you plan on working on?
None. A lot of people ask me that question, man. I don't foresee anything different in the future. About 2 years ago, I tried real hard to get a TV series or like a Netflix documentary, you know, where you have a sequence of like eight different series. That didn't go well, man. A lot of people always, you know, the age of the social media and this news media, people say, oh man, you a Democrat. Oh, you watch CNN, you watch that old fake news. Let me tell you something, man. I don't care about no Democrat or no Republican. It's about you as an individual and the policies that you push. Now,
yes.
When it comes to CNN, would you believe CNN gave me the most action out of like 12 different networks that I talked to?
Wow. I would have never thought that. Shout out to CNN.
Me either, but they ended up deciding to stick with Kamal Bell, and he's the reason why we didn't get on CNN. But man, I talked to all these other bullshit networks. Man, look, one, I don't want to say the wrong name, but I think it would. I don't even want to put the name out because it might be the wrong network, but it was this one network, and they wanted me to give them a year for free with no pay.
Oh my God.
A year with no pay. And I'm like, okay, so do we get a second year or what? Of course, they got to wait and see if we worth a second year. I'm like, man, I ain't giving you nothing for free. Y'all finna make millions off this shit.
Absolutely. That's crazy.
I'd rather give a YouTube influencer my time for free. I ain't giving you motherfucking rich white people no fucking all my hard work for free.
They got enough free shit from us, man. Yeah. God damn. And I hate when our people try to do that. And it's funny that you said that earlier. Like, man, the politics I done encountered in this space and the click up energy of this fucking space is like, Oh, y'all some corny ass niggas in this shit. Like y'all ain't really from the trenches. Y'all ain't really from the hood because you couldn't be if you moving the way you niggas be moving. Like the shit I've been through in this space, and they be trying to like in the space I'm in. It's all about narrative. They be trying to make you seem like you hate this one or hate that one. Like they'll take a clip from you and run with it and try to turn a whole bunch of people against you, and then they tell you don't react to that. It's like I'm from the street. If you say something about me to people that don't know me, I'm going to react. I'm not going to do no YouTube politics shit because I'm like this. If nobody knows me and the first time they learn about me is from your perspective and it's negative, I got a problem with that because they don't know me and they're learning about me the first time from your little goofy ass. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't be doing that YouTube politics shit. As you can see, I'm very respectful. I done had people on my panel and I gave them flowers and they go back to their channel and they talk some crazy shit about me. Oh no, I'm gonna say something about you, bro. And if I run into you, then we're gonna have another conversation. I ain't with none of that peanut butter and jelly goofy shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, let's be respectful and be men. But when I got into this space, I'm like, oh, y'all just up here, y'all just get a camera or Wi-Fi connection, just start saying whatever the fuck you want to say. You ain't standing on nothing real. It's just shit is like high school, man. Like, so for somebody as big as your channel, and your channel big to me, not just because of numbers, it's because of what actually you produce. Like I see value in people. I don't look at numbers and all that. I look at the value in somebody. And it's like, to me, you got one of the most valuable channels out here. And it's like, for you to be humble and come work with me, it says a lot about you. I done work with people they think they big and they act all bougie. I ask them a question, they be like, oh, everybody know me, man. You ain't gotta worry about that. Like, it's like everybody don't know you. You know what I'm saying? Even the biggest person, if you're on somebody's platform for the first time, it shouldn't take nothing from you to reintroduce yourself to their audience. And some people think they too big for that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so I appreciate the humility. And the funny thing is, even though I'm from the East Coast, the most love I get be from Cali.
Yeah,
it's all like my biggest supporters be from Cali, bro. Like even when I went viral, like the brother, you may not know him, but he a rapper from y'all town. His name is, what's his name? Zoe Osama. He sampled me in one of his songs. Now he over your interview for a while. He been playing, but he sampled my voice in one of his songs. So yeah, Cali showed me a lot of love. Y'all seeing me on that side? For some reason, it seems the screen it's very janky on my side, and I don't know why. It's a brand new computer. I got the fastest Wi-Fi. I got the hardline connection. I don't know what's going on, but I got one more question for you, Big Kev Mac, and we're gonna get you up out of here. What advice do you have for upcoming young content creators?
Walk that line in a positive light, because a lot of the stuff we speak on or the content that we create is very fragile between you're disrespecting the culture or you're promoting violence and you're being positive and being a good journalist. So just be careful with the content that you create and how you put it out there, and try to use choice words that go in your favor, more positive than negative. And I think you'll be all right from there.
Well, with that being said, brother Kev Mac, I appreciate you for pulling up tonight, brother. I thank you for your time. You're a great man. I like what you're doing. Very respectful. Thank you for your time. This was definitely a great moment for me in my content career. I definitely wanted to get you on the books, and this is definitely a blessing for me. And I'm gonna definitely cherish this content that we've been able to create together. And I appreciate your time, beloved. And hopefully, I don't know where you stand, but if I go back to Cali, if you in here with Cali, I like to break bread. I would love to, get some food with you, break some bread, chop it up in person. You know what I'm saying? Because I like to build relationships, not just for the internet, but in real life. If any way we could collaborate or help each other, anything you would like me to be a part of, any endeavors you want me to push out to the crowd that you want to do, please don't hesitate to bring it my way. I definitely respect your content, and I would definitely like to, if possible, collaborate again in the future, brother.
Yeah, because you never got around to Monster Cody, so
I didn't want to just make it about the game thing. That's why I didn't want to go. But hey, you want to chop it up about it real quick? Because Monster is one of those people I wish I could have talked to before he died. I was I'm not gonna act like he was we all know what Monster did, but something about the way Monster Cody talked, bro. I just could listen to him for hours, and I was so jealous. that you got to talk to him, man. Like, I really wish I could have talked. Monster, to me, he was one of those dudes who he just had the right opportunity, could have changed all the hoods across America, to me. Like, he was that powerful. He was that convincing, that passionate about speaking. I was a huge fan of Monster, but Monster was a Crip to the day he died, though. Like, Monster was so Crip, like, and it's not funny at all. I hated that he said that, but it was just like, he was an A-trade, like, through and through. Like, when he said, man, he said, I was watching. He said, so I didn't know about Nip, man. I didn't know about him too much, man. I heard about him, but, when I heard he died, I was like, man, I hope we got him, man. He said, but I didn't know, brother. I didn't know, then I did my homework on him. And I was like, man, then that brother's like how we supposed. I'm like, yo, Monster is crazy, bro. But he was real, though. Like, he was just, that's just who he was. But it's like the way he told the story. I watched his interviews with you. Like, when you finally dropped his, like, I was like, yo, we gonna drop the next one. Like, let's go. Because you dropped one, then you dropped part two. And you know just when to stop the video. Like, you always leave us like on that cliffhanger. That's why I'm like, you really got the cinematography thing down packed. Like, it's not just you putting the camera up and letting gang members talk. Like, it's definitely art to what you do. And if you don't pay attention, you'll just take it for granted. But you know exactly what you're doing. Like, you want the dopest content creators. But the floor is, I'll let you talk. What's something about Monster that you want to share with people that the average person probably wouldn't know?
Well, that he was just a real individual, man. All of that, he's an asshole, killer, all that was out the window when I met him. He was just so cool, so real, so smart, intelligent, and he had a wealth of knowledge in his head, as well as history. He had a lot of historical aspects to his conversations, man. He was well-rounded. He could talk about Black history. He could talk about the native land. He could talk about whatever, man, living off the land. He was a wealth of information, man. And that's what I missed, because he had promised me another interview. I don't know if it ended. Did it just end?
No, it ain't. And I was just sharing your page with the people.
Okay, so yeah, he had promised me another interview, and it was probably going to be with my homeboy, Pretty Boy. But I wanted to get Monster with Mump as well. And, man, it just never happened, man. It never happened. So I'm appreciative that he gave me that one interview, man. It was a good, long interview. And then afterwards, we went and sat down and ate. He was so thankful and had so many manners during that conversation at the table and treating him out. My partner, I got a partner a lot of people don't talk about, Baby S Mac. And he paid for the meal. And, man, we had a good time that night, man.
Yeah, I want to play a little short.
Go ahead.
From Monster Cody on your page, because he was Monster was so dope, man. I'm gonna play this clip real quick.
I didn't just materialize out of thin air. I didn't fall from the sky.
Can y'all hear it?
Produced by
a
certain climate in a certain area in certain dirt, man, in the tropics of destitution.
I don't hear it.
Where I was produced, which was where other plants before me were produced, and we just came up as cactuses, and then we didn't need much what everybody else needed. You didn't have to water us, but every 3 years.
Can y'all hear it? I don't hear it, y'all.
Existed in the fucking desert of
it's
nothing,
playing,
but just poverty.
StreamYard sucks, man. We gonna have to get off StreamYard, y'all. StreamYard suck. I can't hear shit.
We couldn't articulate it. I don't think the cats before us could, because the way they reacted.
Yeah, Monster was different, man. If y'all haven't read Monster Cody's book and you in the game, you in the street, you're doing yourself a disservice. Gotta read that book, man.
That was about unity. So these young cats, Keyways, and then eventually these down moves, these was now the front line vanguard of me. I didn't just materialize.
One of my favorite clips, Monster was the man. One of my clips about Monster that to me was like, it said so much about black men. There was a clip of him when he was in jail. And, Monster was tough. Very stoic at times. And they was like, he was talking about his background. And, I never seen Monster get emotional. But when he brought up his father, Monster started crying. And it's like in that moment, because people always say, oh, they feel like the impact, not having your father is just like a little a fucking little excuse a lot of brothers make. That shit is real. And it's like all the things that Monster did, as tough as he was, as in the streets as he was, when they brought up the lack of his father, it still broke him down. You know what I'm saying? It's like not having those father figures is so important that, and it's something that black men really never really recover from. We just, we get used to it and we just thrive regardless. But it just showed me that even somebody as tough and as gangster as Monster Cody, while being in jail, knowing about his father would still bring him to tears. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was crazy. But nah, Monster was dope. How was it? Was it a lot of pushback from the hood? The fact that he was from the other side?
No, actually, I got a couple of people that approved of that really had enjoyed the interview. One particular homeboy, I'm not gonna say his name, but he was. Matter of fact, I think he said it in one of my interviews, but he was kind of disappointed in that interview because he could tell Monster had been using drugs. So he was like, man, all the respect I have for that dude, he like, man, that's out the window. But everybody else was like, damn, man, you got Monster. Monster was a great interview. And it got over 1 million views.
Of course. I want to see a movie about his life, to be honest. I think, if anything, he need a movie, man. Like Monster Cody need a movie. Because I feel like his story, it not only catalogs the Rolling 68 trade conflict, but it also bleeds into the riots. You know what I'm saying? It also bleeds into like his reformation. He knew Pop. It's a lot of LA history just tied into his life. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think that'll be like a really crazy film. Do you know if anybody's trying to do something like that?
Yeah, they were trying to do a Monster couple of years. He signed over the rights to his life. Like, at least he told us on 2 occasions. They paid close to 6 figures or maybe 6 figures both times. But he kept going back to prison, so the movie was never made.
He kept going back. Like, I was mad when Monster died because I wanted to write him last time he got locked up. I was trying to figure out how to write him. Like, I really wanted him to know who I was. Like, I just thought he was a powerful speaker. I seen past the violence and all that. Like, that man talk, I listen. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't because he's just a street dude. It's just because he's an intelligent man who just happened to be a Crip. But he could have been a teacher, anything. I will listen to him. It's just he has a oral skill that is like elite, like Gandhi, Malcolm X level. People could say what they fucking want. Monster Cody had a way to talk that was up there with the rest of them. He just was a street dude through and through. But I really wish I could have talked to Monster, because I think based on the network of people I know now, I probably would have got to him. You know what I'm saying? I probably wasn't able to work with him, get him for an interview. Like, Monster, man, Monster was cool as hell, bro. But go ahead.
Mention two of my homeboy. So if you really, really listen to Nipsey Hussle's interviews, he was highly intelligent like Monster too.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I got a homeboy who's probably just as articulate as Monster. People don't know about him or pay attention, but Mumpy. The interview I did with Mumpy.
He is articulate. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Monster
and Mumpy ran together.
Mm-hmm.
They grew up together. So you can, and then they both went to the pen in 79. Well, Monster went to like youth authority, but so they got that same training through prison, that education in prison.
Mm-hmm.
So Mumpy is highly underrated, and Nipsey, I don't know that I knew he was as intelligent as he was until after he passed. I knew a lot of his thoughts. He shared a lot of thoughts with me, but I didn't hear him using them big words and being so precise on the things that he studied until after interviews when he passed. But yeah, I had to mention them. And one more guy I got to mention. When we talk about all these dudes that can have a Hollywood story on their life, I would put A.C. Moses up there. I would actually put him before Monster Cody, or maybe in two different categories. The reason why, when you think of Monster Cody, now we're going to look at this Crip. We're going to look at this next generation Crip that was involved in wars and went to war with his friends. No longer cool with the dudes who mamas let him in their house and backyard to play and ride bikes together.
Mm-hmm.
AC Moses, you're gonna get a real journey from the original Crips to the Figueroa Boys, and then
Baba Louie, right?
huh?
You talking about Baba Louie, right?
Baba Louie just passed recently.
Oh, he passed?
Yeah, he passed.
Oh, wow.
So them will be two of the probably the best that come to mind, but also the way Rebo told his story will be good.
Big Rebo from Park Village. Yeah.
His story is so great. It's the heir apparent to all Bloods who say they started banging because of the Crip aggression. Rebo starts banging because of the Pyru's aggression. And that's why in my earlier years on social media, I would always say, like how Jimmy Lavender portrays the Crips, I say that's bullshit. I say everybody had their own experience. And every different section pushed different. Because, I mean, I don't need to say no more. Rebo's story is the exact opposite of most Blood story.
Facts. That's a fact. And it's funny because on the East Coast, the Bloods is what the Crips was over there. They run shit. They the deepest. You know what I'm saying? You would have to, like, to be a Crip from New Jersey, you got to be tough because all like Bloods is everywhere in New York, New Jersey, and the Blood sets, a lot of Blood sets started on the East Coast that they bang. So you got Brims, you got Pyrus, but most of them is like East Coast started sets like Sex Money Murder, Trey Blood, you know, shit like that. So if you're a Crip, more than likely you from the West Coast, you have a West Coast set association, and you're extremely outnumbered. So I find it ironic that on the left side of the country, the Crips run it, and on the right side, the Bloods run it. You know what I'm saying? Very ironic. How do you feel about the gang culture coming to New York and New Jersey? Like, how do people from LA view it? Do they view them as the same? Do they think they're following a fad, or do they feel like they just brothers in arms?
No, mostly the biggest conception is it was a fad. But then you go to federal prison, they look at them totally different. They look at them like them are brothers. Them are, you know, them real Bloods and real Crips. They gonna roll with us when shit go down in the feds. And they make a lot of connections and friendships. So that's gonna be the difference, is have you been in federal prison or have you had any dealings with guys on the East Coast, particularly New York, maybe through the music industry or maybe through fashion or through sports. And, you know, you embrace them more than a guy that has never been in New York before in his life.
Absolutely.
This is what I tell people, though, because a lot of dudes on the East Coast get offended. They don't like the way people, same with Texas, they don't like the way California dudes view them. But I'm like, think of it as hip hop. And you might be younger, but man, when hip hop started in LA, New York motherfuckers didn't like LA hip hop. They didn't like LA hip hop, bro. And they wasn't playing LA records on New York radio back then. So it's the same shit. Like, dudes used to break dance or wear bomber jackets or them little jumpsuits they used to use, and Pumas or Adidas with fat laces in LA. Man, you would get clowned. It was not acceptable to be doing that New York stuff when hip hop first came to LA. Gradually, it became adopted, and of course, when NWA came out, shit, LA had its own hip hop culture, gangster rap.
Yeah. I just think when it comes to the gang thing, though, I just think it's the LA thing. And I'm from Jersey, and I got a lot of friends that's Bloods and Crips, and they know how I feel about it. You know what I'm saying? I tell them, I got a lot of friends that's Grape Street, I got a lot of friends that's Rolling 60, you know, all that. And I just feel like, I just don't think it's our thing. You know what I'm saying? You kind of jumping into something that's personal to people. It's like somebody jumping into a beef between you and your cousin, and they don't even know neither one of you. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I get it. You know, it came through the jails and all that, but I just feel like LA gangs belong in LA. And I think everybody else is just, they've been romanticized into being a part of it through music and film. But it's like, you can't tell me How can you really hate a A-Trade gangster and you from New Jersey? Like, how can you hate them? Like, you don't know nobody over there. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like the psychology behind it was just like, it just shows me that young black men just want to be a part of something. And unfortunately, they find things that, you know, might lead to jail or violence, but they just need something to be a part of. But they can build something in their own community. Like, you don't have to be somebody from Cali. You can build something in your own town. You could, you know, I don't know. I just feel like I feel like how y'all feel. Like it was a fad. But it's here to stay on the East now. Like they done made it, it's one area, right, in Irvington, New Jersey. It's almost feel like it was made to be it's like the Long Beach of New Jersey. Like it's the street signs is blue. The school is the Blue Knights. The initials for the school, of course, is BK, and they got a big Crip hood out there called called Crescent Lane. So it's like it just seemed like it was made to be a Crip neighborhood. It kind of feel like Crenshaw out there. So, but everywhere else is like pretty much blooded out. But I just thought that was funny how the Crips gravitated to that city, and that city was already blue everything from since we was kids. So I don't know. It's very ironic.
Let me say this for clarity before we get out of here is I was speaking in past tense when I said, you know, the majority of people look at the East Coast, particularly New York, as a fad. No longer do people look at it like a fad. Now people trying to wonder, why do they still claim the set? Because like you said, now you at war or you at peace with dudes who are at war in LA. So we're not on the exact same page. But I think Crips and Bloods spreading is cool, but I think it should have been done differently. Like you could have been Houston Crips or Dallas Crips.
Thank you. That's what I said. It's like if you want to do it, why can't you name it after your block where you live at? Why you want to be a Rolling 60? Why you can't name it after Avon Avenue or Springfield Avenue Crip? I thought maybe they didn't allow it. Maybe the Crips didn't allow them to do that. Maybe they didn't allow them to bring their own charter. But it's like if they had a choice to do that and they chose not to, that's mad corny. Because I would love to rep my neighborhood with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not from the 60s. I didn't go to Crenshaw High School. Like I didn't go to World on Wheels roller skating. Like I'm not from over there, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's what I thought. But now that you said that, it looked like they wanted to be down with y'all. Yeah. Now the Bloods are more East Coast. Like they start like 6 Money Murder. That's from the Bronx. That's a project. 252 is the actual building. So it's like that would make sense, even though you may not be from the Bronx, if you're from Jersey, whatever, but it's close. It's in the vicinity. You know what I'm saying? But it's like to be from Grave Street, to be from the Mob Pyro, it's like, bro, that's all the way on the other side of the country. Now, God forbid you go over there and die for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy. I've seen some pretty famous Crips from my town. They from Rolling 60. They went out there to LA and took a picture saying F A-Trade. And I was like, whoa, like, do you know what that means? Like, why would you antagonize another neighborhood from the other side of the country? Like, even if I was a 60 from Jersey, I would go to LA on some, I'm from 60s, but you know, I don't got no problem with, you know, because I'm not from here. Right. But if something happens, you got to do what you got to do. But it's like, I wouldn't come over there on some antagonistic vibe thinking that I got the set behind me. Like, Cali is Cali. And I don't care what you think, they're gonna ride with Cali before they ride with you. And just like it is on the East Coast. So it's just like, I don't know. I miss the old days when New York was New York, New Jersey was New Jersey, because it made the culture more flavorful. You know that New York got its flavor, Jersey got its flavor, LA got it. Now everybody want to be like everybody. It's like it just take the fun out of it's no variety in things. It's just a bunch of monotonous following, and I think that shit is whack.
Yeah. All right, man. It was good for you having me on, man. I appreciate the invite.
No doubt, Kev Mac, man. I appreciate your time, bro. Like I said, man, it was a pleasure, man. Pulling up on my little old channel. I appreciate you, bro. Thanks, Star. Hopefully we can collaborate again in the future, bro. You have a blessed night.
Sure, you too. Later.
Peace. All right, y'all. That was a dope show. I don't know what's going on with StreamYard, but it was glitchy for me all night. I got the plugged up. I'm plugged up, you know what I'm saying? Everything is working. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's time to go to greener pastures and bigger platforms, maybe OBS or something. But a shout to everybody that pulled up tonight. Thanks for everybody that showed up and pulled up to the channel. I'm trying to bring quality conversations. You know, you can't say I ain't trying. You can't say I ain't bring quality content creators to collaborate with. But, you know, we here. Shout out to everybody that pulled up. I'm not going to hold y'all too much longer. Peace to everybody that pulled up tonight. And we are out. Peace and love. Uno.
Them niggas shrink around you, man. You know what I'm saying? They just in the space probably before you was a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But them niggas shrink when you come around. That's why them niggas don't want you around.
Situation with the genders and all of that shit that we've been hearing about. And there's nobody better than the gore. Philosophical to come set that bitch off.
Yo, you know